Wonderful. Kevin Cassidy, thank you very much for joining me today to Rewind Yourself. Welcome. It's great to have you here today with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Let's get started. Maybe you can share a little bit of your background, paint a vivid picture of your story, who you are, what you've done in your past, in your life, and yeah, where you're going to take us through this journey and story throughout the interview, really. So maybe
All
you
right,
can
I'll try to
start
give
us.
you the short version of it if I can. I was born with a pretty severe birth defect, a cleft palate. I went through a lot of surgeries as a kid. I had no nose or upper lip or mouth. I had a bubble pretty much around my face, which resulted in a pretty big speech impediment throughout my youth. I still work on today. And went through a decent amount of bullying and all that stuff, which accompanies something like that as a young kid. I ended up going to college and playing baseball, and then went on to play a little bit of minor league baseball. Was a school teacher. Ended up playing a random sport called slam ball, with full contact basketball and trampolines. I was out in LA. It was crazy. That got me into Hollywood. Was a professional Hollywood stuntman for 20 years. Did movies like Black Panther and Ant-Man and a bunch of Marvel films, The Longest Yard, a bunch of sports movies, video games, Madden, NFL Madden, Call of Duty, a bunch of video games. Pretty much used my body as my as my tool for a while in life. And then I got married, had a family, and left that world behind and opened up a small business where I live now outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's a Ninja Warrior facility for kids. If you've seen the show American Ninja Warrior, it's pretty much a facility with all that stuff built into it. We have a competitive team. We do development programs. We have birthday parties and summer camps and do a lot of charity work. And yeah, that's it. And I kind of stay home for the kids a lot, run that business. I wrote a book. I do podcasts. I've done a TED talk. I do speaking engagement. Kind of jack of all, master of none right now. My youngest is now 5 and she's in kindergarten. So I'm putting my foot back in the Hollywood world a little bit. Going to do a little bit of consulting and jump back in the movies a little bit, make some money. So that's a short version of where I started and where I ended up.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I mean, where you are at the moment, you've achieved quite a lot of things that a lot of people can dream of. Where did it start really for you? How did you stay persistent, didn't give up throughout all those challenges? I mean, I'm asking because younger generations in particular who are watching this channel facing a lot of challenges on a daily basis. Yeah, on a different levels, different challenges. What would you say to them? Not giving up, pushing it, and not everything that they see on the internet is meant to be, because a lot of let's be honest, people out there on the internet trying to strive or push us towards materialistic things, but ultimately it's all happiness is something different. So.
Yeah, I think one of the big things I was blessed with was parents in the community that kind of held me accountable. My mother says to this day that she didn't treat me as if I had a birth defect or I couldn't talk, and she still says to this day she didn't know I was ever being bullied. I was like, that's kind of naive a little bit, but holding me to that standard that made me never feel like I was any different really helped me be accountable for all the things that I did and didn't do. So I think that really helped formed a lot of what made me persevere, because I didn't really have the option not to. Yeah, go to school tomorrow. I'm sorry, kids are mean to you. Figure it out. There's a balance there, obviously. But one of the big themes in the book I wrote and my philosophy is um, valuing who you are more than what you are. When I was younger, and I define that as what you are is all external things. For me, what my face looked like, how I talk, all those things. Who you are is more internal things. Are you hardworking? Are you kind? Are you a good friend? Are you a good teammate? All these things. And when I was younger, I was forced to look in and value who I was, because what I was very attractive to lean into. So I did a lot of that work at a younger age than most people do, to have my internal self worth be internal instead of external validation or external stuff. That's really the key philosophy that's gotten me through all the stuff I went through to get me to Hollywood, all the failures, being in a position to fail all the time, and then knowing that you're strong enough to get over it, because you know who you are. I was really valued being a good friend and being tough and being a good teammate and being there for people. That was important to me. What I became, whether it was a stuntman or I was a school teacher for a little bit, didn't really define me, didn't really wasn't as important to me, to the point where I was in Hollywood working on Avengers, the biggest movies in the world, hanging out with movie stars. Pretty cool job. But that was just still what I was. It wasn't who I was. Who I was just a hard worker, good person. And I knew that I wanted to be around my kids when I had kids. So I was able to drop that career and leave a lot of money on the table, open a small business to really lean into what I wanted and to be a good father and a present husband and give a lot back to the kids and the community. I was able to do that because, again, what I was didn't really matter that much to me. It was who I was. It was always valued more. That's always freed me up to to be confident and to take chances and do all those different things. So it's a hard lesson I learned quickly. I was kind of forced to learn. I mean, kids nowadays have it's a little harder to probably do it with social media and a lot of enabling parents and getting all the obstacles out of the kids' way and all that kind of stuff. I think we're as parents are enabling kids to look externally more than previous generations did, which I was very lucky to have that forced on me. So I think that's the core principle of what's gotten me so far is valuing who I am more than what I am.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for letting me know. So, was there a moment in your childhood where something shifted, where you decided the bullying wasn't going to define you as an individual? I mean, how did you toughen up and ignored it? How did you cope with this?
It was again probably back then it was easier than it would be now because when I was in school and I got bullied and made fun of, I got home and it ended. There wasn't any social media. It wasn't logging in, and it wasn't constant. So it ended, and I had a big gap in my life where I wasn't bullied. It was fine. And if I got made fun of or beat up at school, there was a day or two where life went on. It was normal, and then I was able to recoup. And and then I even in all that thing I say in the book is no matter how many bad things are happening, there's always good people around. Even when I was getting bullied, even beaten up, I would see other people who weren't doing that, who were nice and kind to me. I would just kind of hang out with them and have a group of people around me that was a good safety net that didn't care what I was at the time as a deformed kid who talked funny. So surrounding myself with those kind of people really, really helped me. And then I play sports. So athletics. You put a helmet on playing football, and no one can see your face. You don't have to talk. You can just tackle somebody, and everyone likes you for that. So I had some wins with athletics, but you can get wins with theater or math or chess club or getting involved in things that really funnel that who you are vision of yourself. There's a time when I was in school and I was getting bullied pretty bad, and a kid I didn't even really know just kind of befriended me. I'm still friends with that kid today. So these little things along the way, like lean into that little thing instead of lean into the bullying thing. Like you get to choose when you go home what's affecting you more. Have the positive things affect you. And I was, for whatever reason, able to forgive pretty easily the kids that were bullying me in seventh, eighth grade became my friends and teammates in high school. Like people grow, and having some empathy from the other side is paramount as well. So there's a lot of it's a long answer for that question, but some of the things I leaned on.
I'm curious, and probably our audience as well. How does someone become a stuntman? Can you walk us through? If someone wants to go that route, become a stuntman, wants to know all the secrets, is there a tip you can give, share, or
Yeah, it's a tough, crazy world, man. When I got out there to Hollywood, I didn't have a job. A buddy of mine from that slam ball sport was he did football. He was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in The Replacements, and he happened to be on my slam ball team. He said, "Hey, I got to try out." A buddy of mine is doing a movie called The Longest Yard. Adam Sandler and Burt Reynolds, a remake of an old movie. I guess it's an old movie again now because I'm old. So I went to that tryout and I made it as a football stunt guy. And oh, cool! I made more money. I met Adam Sandler. I worked for 5 months on a huge motion picture and did a bunch of cool stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna stay in LA, see how long I can ride this out. And then I was educated on the business. It's all word of mouth. There's no agents, no managers, no auditions. You have to build up your training repertoire, what you can do, how you can do it, and you got to hunt for the jobs. You have to find out what's filming where. You have to find out who's the boss. What does that boss need? Is it a football player? You need a motocross guy. Can you do what that boss needs? And you have to create your own headshot, your own stunt reel, highlight reel, your own training videos. Do all this out of your own pocket and just be in that environment. I played in the Stuntman softball league or Stuntman golf tournaments or Stuntman get-togethers, and just kind of immerse yourself in that environment and kind of learn that it's a very slow process of proving yourself to one person. That person refers you to another person. Prove yourself to that person. That person refers you to another person. And then over years, you're doing all the Marvel movies. So it was a very long, tedious process of all word of mouth recommendations, showing up early, working hard, never over promising, under promise, over deliver. Or if you say, hey, can you do a backflip on a motorcycle? It'll pay you $20,000. And I was broke. I mean, I need that money, but I cannot do that stunt. If I say yes, I show up the next day and I got to do it. So knowing when to, accept the job. And then after that call, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start working on motorcycles, learn how to do these things. So when that phone call comes, I can say, yes, I can do this, or no, I can't. So you kind of build your toolbox of what your abilities are, so you can take more jobs and meet more people. And so it's very interesting career. Then at the end, I got behind the camera. I was getting older. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 230 pounds, and not a whole lot of actors in my size. So I play a lot of bad guys, a lot of aliens, a lot of villains, SWAT team guy. But those guys don't have a job in every movie. So I learned how to do the fight choreography. I learned how to do the stunt safety, the stunt rigging, talk to the producers and the directors. And so I learned all the other aspects of the career so I can work on more jobs and work for longer periods of time. And because when one movie ends, you never know when you're going to work again. It's all contract. You have a 4 month contract with this movie, and that movie ends. You better go find another job. And if you don't have the toolbox of abilities, you might not get another job for a year or 2 years. Or so it was a grinding process. Once you establish yourself and have a good reputation, then the phone starts ringing, and it was a lot of fun.
You need the personality then.
Your personality, show up early, be humble. You have to be athletic, and whatever you say you can do it. And then when that job's over, learn what the other guys did too. I worked with a bunch of parkour guys and Cirque du Soleil people. So when that movie ended, I went and trained with them to learn how to do parkour and how to do all that stuff. So if I got a call, I could take that job. So you kind of like, you don't know what you don't know, and then every time you around someone that has a different skill set, oh, you're a car driver, you do horse work. Can I come train with you? Can I go to your ranch? And you just on your own dime, on your own time, you build up your toolbox and uh, are available to do other cool shows.
So you were invisible in those films. The audience never knows your name, maybe very few of those. How do you find the meaning and no one noticing you? I mean, it's,
Yeah.
practice is differently because they know the faces, the names, and you obviously become very famous and, known in the circus in Hollywood. But for those maybe don't watch the movie, they don't necessarily know all the stuntmen.
Yeah, sure. We're the guy behind the guy, right? Or the girl behind the girl. So having that part of your mentality, not really being an ego chaser, and that if that's something you need, you probably won't last in such long anyway. I'd much rather we get paid very well, so give me the paycheck, and I'd rather not be famous. So it kind of attracts the people who like to be behind the not in the spotlight. The helpers, I would kind of lean into those kind of individuals who like to be role players and like to it'll keep you humble because one day you'll be having lunch with Adam Sandler and he's your best friend. The next movie you're on and it's an actor who doesn't even want to make you eye contact with you. Like you have to like be very dial up with them and treat them nicely and don't talk to them after it's over. And so knowing those kind of things, kind of paramount of how to treat your actor if you're doubling them or what your boss needs, or you have to have that kind of in you that you don't need to be in front of the camera. You don't need to have that. If you need to have that, a lot of people get into stunts because they want to be actors. It's not a bad training ground. They get experience in front of the camera, know how a movie set works, whose jobs are what, and how to do that. At some point, you have to choose. Okay, I'm gonna go on auditions and be an actor, or I'm gonna lock in here and stay a stuntman. If you really want to be famous, you got to go the other way at some point because it's gonna grind you out the other side.
Let's talk about your book, about the tension between the what and the who of your life. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's kind of what I touched on earlier when in my background of valuing who you are over what you are. And so when I was a young kid, what I was a deformed kid who had a speech impediment and who got bullied, but I had a great family. I still had good friends around. I had a good neighborhood I grew up in. My community was strong, but I never valued what I was. I valued who I was. I was conscious of that is more important. I'd rather be a really good friend and be a protector than a guy who makes you win a shot in the game. And I'm gonna work towards that, but that was more valuable to me. And that was something that at the end of the day I look back on and was like, I feel fulfilled in what I did and who I was that day. As on the path to being cool things and being a stuntman and being a teacher, being a mentor, all those are what I became. And I was still working towards that. But those didn't define me. Who I was has always defined me and given me my self confidence. The difference of who you are and what you are is very paramount in my philosophy and something I teach all the people I mentor and speak to. Having that internal confidence to take chances and to not have the external validation, the external feedback loop really, especially with social media now, it can really dig you in the hole you can't get out of. Hopefully that's dying. I don't know if it's dying down or not. My oldest is 9 years old, so I have three daughters, 9, 8, and 5. So I'm just going to be getting into that. They don't have any screens, and on social media, we're very adamant about those things. But we can build you're never going to protect them from everything. If I can build that self confidence in them, that they know who they are, and that's more important than what they are at a core level, then they'll be able to handle the social media stuff and the bullying or all the things that adolescence brings to you a little bit better than kids who really need that validation, who really need those clicks and those likes and those whatever that is. Having that be less important to you at a young age is pretty crucial, I think, nowadays.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. What's a positive habit you developed throughout your life and that you ritually use or do daily or routinely?
I really think doing hard things, like putting yourself in a situation where you're just going to suck at it and knowing that you can get on the other side of it. So I do cold plunge, which I hate, but I'll do it. I don't like running, but I'll run sometimes. Like putting yourself in situations that makes you uncomfortable is kind of paramount. Once I start getting grown into a pretty easy life now, I run my business, I got good kids, we live in a good community. I still get some money from the movies, mailbox money I call it, or residual. So financially we're okay. We're not wealthy, but we're good. So it's easy to just get complacent, just sit back and get fat and live up. And that slowly kind of dwindles my fire, my spark in life. So it's a good problem to have that life is easy and good in the West out here, that we have to hunt out hard things to do. But if you're not hunting them out, you're not putting yourself in position to do something hard, then you're not challenging yourself. You're not growing. You're not going to have that fulfillment. So I always try to put myself in a situation and my kids and do the extra mile on the hike or do something that you don't like to do. Do hard things really keeps you humble. So that's something I try to keep on. My schedule right now, my habits are I run a small business. I have three kids. I have three different things going on. I have one. So there's no normal schedule in my life right now. But anytime I start getting complacent, I just throw myself into something hard for a little bit and get me back to my roots.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And is there a version of your life you almost lived, a road you nearly took that would have led somewhere completely different?
I was a college baseball player, and I got in a fight with my coach. I ended up getting kicked off the team, and it really spiraled some other things in my life. I was on a trajectory to play professional baseball. I could have gone that way, and it really hurt my chances of doing all that. I would change how I dealt with that. One thing I would tell my younger self is not everything is a battle to the death. Like pick and choose your battles. I would get bullied. I'd either walk away or I'd fight to the death. There's no in between. And I would try to walk away a few times, then I was all in. And I need to handle those situations as an adult. Kind of, there's a lot of middle ground there. Picking those battles as a kid would have helped me have probably easier life and played baseball or not gone through some of the later trauma I went through. But that all got me here and got me who I am, so I wouldn't really change anything because where I landed is pretty awesome. I mean, I would definitely have done some things differently with that mentality of fight them all, burn the ships, figure it out later. I could have dialed that down a little bit when I was younger.
Okay. And so you've built Ninja Nation to help kids build confidence. What's the thing you most want to pass to them?
So when I played baseball, youth sports right now is getting to be sharks in the water. If you're decent, you're gonna play travel ball. There are scouts trying to get you. It's got monetized at such a young age. It kind of sucks the soul out of it. So I really like the Ninja Warrior, the parkour, the those kind of things, because kids are gonna have to compete just for the sake of competing. You're gonna have to try to grab this ring, and you're gonna miss 20 times. The 21st time, you're gonna get it. You're like, holy cow, I got the ring! That's awesome. There's no scholarships, can't go pro. So the small victories of confidence that I see in the gym every day is just awesome for kids. They try to run up this warp wall and they fail 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 times. They don't quit. They just like, I gotta get that ring, I gotta get that warp wall. And they do it and it's just I gotta come back tomorrow, get the next one. I gotta come so those little tangible wins that I see every day in the gym really are building blocks of a lot of confidence. And again, there's no ego attached to it. There's no scholarships. There's no scouts there. There's no you're doing that just because you want to get better and build that internal drive. And that's what I see every day in that gym and that sport, and I love it.
Social media, well, in my opinion, it's not necessarily having a great influence or impact on younger people because we are being sort of exposed to, yeah, the materialistic, good looking, perfect life that we need to accumulate. In your own words, everyone has a different version. What's the key to successful and happy life? And what should people strive towards? I know you've tapped into different areas of this, but is there a particular view you have on social media in particular, or tell the younger people what they should really look out for?
Yeah, I mean, I would be very attuned to the external validation of anything. And social media has that times a million anything that I had, anyone else in other generations, human history. Just being an addict to that external validation is just gonna drive you crazy. It's never gonna win. It's never gonna be enough. It's never gonna knowing that that's not and at different ages you'll mature. So when you're younger, I know girls gonna have a harder time than boys historically with that kind of feedback loop and what's important and being pretty and all that kind of stuff. I think at a certain age, educating them is huge. I listened to a podcast the other day. Don't just tell your 14-year-old, hey, social media is bad. Like, show them a video of why it's bad. Show them what it does to your brain, how it rewires your neural circuits, how it's like a cocaine addiction where you need those lights and everything. Like, educate them to why it's bad. Like, when I was in kids, there was dare to get off drugs. There was a big anti-drug thing. Like, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Okay, bye everybody. Show me the guy who threw his life away that's homeless now because they did drugs. Show me what's really can come of this. And now that would have hit me deeper. Treat me a little with more respect and like show me why you're doing this. Show me why there are dangers here. Show me where it's going to lead you to. Like engage them with it. I'm not going to hide it from them. So you have to double up on the engagement with them and here's the people on Roblox who got abducted because they're chatting with somebody. This is a real thing. There's a real risk. And as parents, we have to do a better job of doing that. Like kids are the same kids they've been throughout human history. The parents and people have changed, who've given them the keys to the internet, who've given them low expectations and not holding them accountable and taking all the obstacles away from them and making their lives too easy. So I blame a lot of this on the parents. But at some point, your life's gonna make you have to make your own choices. You're at fault at some point. You could have a bad start with parents who just give you internet when you're 8 years old, but when time you're 18, you have to figure out why that's bad and don't hide it from them. Engage with them and educate them. And educate yourself as a young person of what the dangers are. There's real risk. Be honest with yourself. You know that you're getting just shut dry by these addiction to clicks. You know that's not good. Be strong enough to hold yourself accountable to shut the laptop, go kick a soccer ball, do something hard in nature, like I think the pendulum's swinging a little bit on the parenting and the community side, but if it's not, if you're in a situation where you're able to just log on at 8 years old and do whatever you want to do, you got to self-regulate that and be aware and knowledgeable of what that's going to cause. Don't hide from it, lean into it, but learn from it, learn why, what the consequences will be.
What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned about relationships, whether with family, friends, or romantic partners?
Yeah, I think that everything's a sacrifice. Like I sacrificed my Hollywood career to be a better father. People who are CEOs are going to sacrifice raising their kids to be a CEO. There's not going to be anything. There's a net 100% win on every side of your life. You got to pick and choose what buckets you fill or what buckets are important to you. For me, it was easier. My family's important, so I'm gonna lean into that. I'm gonna take the Hollywood off of it. Realizing that everything's a give and take and nothing's 100% win is crucial in friend relationships and raising kids and being a good friend, being a good partner, all those things. Everything's going to be a little bit of a trade off, and you have to consciously decide what you're willing to trade off. And at the end of the day, are you going to be happier by trading this off for that? Move towards that world. Be conscious of what trade offs are going to be. Big thing is for me is ego. Anything with a big ego, ego is the enemy. Lean out of your ego into humility. The more humble you are, the happier you'll be. Really, if you can learn how to be humble, then you're going to be in a better space in all your relationships.
And if a 25 years old is watching this and still carries something from the past, bullying, a setback, label someone gave them, what would you say to them?
So I would say don't ignore it. Your past is not your present. You don't have to live in it anymore. I think one of the reasons I was able to get through some of my trauma, some of my bullying, some of the other ones I went through is I didn't dwell on it too much. I I moved on pretty quick. I remembered it, but I didn't lament in it. I didn't go home every night and be like, "Oh, when this happened," reliving it over and over and over again in a negative way. It's just it's a loop that it's hard to get out of. So don't deny that it happened, take the good from it and try not to dwell on all the negative things. Like when I was being bullied, I leaned into the friends I had. Oh, these guys are super nice to me today. That's way more important than this one guy being mean to me. So that internal focus of the positive over the internal focus of the negative, if you keep falling into the negative feedback loop of all the negative things and what that's done to you, that's just gonna grow. What you feed grows. So try to see the positive things you see in life, the positive outcomes from it, what you're able to digest from it. Um, don't dwell on the negative. Like, take that. Yep, that sucked. I got it. I don't want to do that again. Here's the good things that came from it. Lean into that side of it and don't relive all that trauma over and over again. Is I think is pretty key. A lot of I read a book not too long ago about modern day therapy, and in therapy, they just make you relive all your trauma over and over and over and over again, and it rewires you to think, "Oh, that must be who I am. That's my life." I never went to like real therapy, but that would have been the opposite effect of me. Like acknowledge it happened, move on, find the goodness of it, and don't let it, keep dragging you down. And there is good there. You usually don't have to look too hard to find it. So lean into that side of it without the other side of it.
Piece of advice you received that stuck with you throughout your life?
The one a high school baseball coach I had a good piece of advice of going back to the trade offs. Like you can have fun and joke around with your buddies in the dugout, or you can lock it up and get out in the field and get better. You're gonna not have that time of joking with your buddies, but you're gonna get better at baseball. So which trade off is it gonna be? And he kind of put that into perspective with me. You can kind of do both. You're gonna have your time in the locker room. You're gonna build these relationships. You can do that and put the work in and be really good at something. You don't have to only do one or the other. And being conscious of that has helped me throughout, especially in the Hollywood career where you have to make your own name and do your own things and not get 100 jobs, fail, get turned down. You can really fall in that negative feedback loop. And while you're doing that, you're building these relationships with all these awesome people, these cowboys, these Cirque du Soleil people, these car drivers, and that means something. You keep working towards that. Don't take one away from the other. So I think him putting that in my head that you can kind of do both without like I said earlier, going all in on one thing, burning the ships down, and only going one way. So
Okay, got it. And do you think society could do something better to support younger people?
I think parents and society in general we forgot how tough kids are. Kids are tough. Kids are malleable. Kids will bounce back. We take too many obstacles away from them. We don't hold them accountable because they have these big feelings. And I like a guy named Jocko Willick. He has a good book and good podcast. And he was a Navy military guy. And he was anytime one of his people would give him a problem, he would say, "Good, oh, we're ambushed or this." Like, good. That's a good job to figure something out. Like, I think holding the kids accountable, the society and the parents and communities, hold them at a higher level of accountability. The kids can do it. Kids can rise to it. But if you keep lowering the bar, you're gonna have lower results. So I think accountability and trusting how tough kids are and what they can go through, letting them go through their own battles is big, and society could flip that a little bit and hold them to a higher standard because they can live up to it.
What do you think people wish or should understand more about resilience, or what it actually takes to get back up?
I think you can't learn that in the book. You can't learn that philosophically. You have to experience it. You have to put yourself in hard situations. You have to get your heart broken. You have to put yourself out there and be like, oh, the sun came up. I'm still here. All right, that's not as bad as I thought it was. The hardest thing that's ever happened to you is the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. A 5-year-old drops an ice cream cone. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to her. She's going to not handle it well. If that's the worst that's ever happened to you in your whole life, you're not gonna handle things well. So you gotta put yourself in situations where you're gonna have to be resilient. Because if you don't put yourself in those situations, you're not gonna learn it. It's a learned trait that you can only do through experience. So if you protect yourself or society or parents protect your kids to a certain level and remove all those obstacles, there no resilience is created. And if you're a young kid who's lived that way, you gotta throw yourself into some places that you need to learn resilience and figure it out, and, um, you'll find out the next day, "Huh, guess what? I'm still here. I didn't get that job, I didn't make that team, I hurt my shoulder, I got" whatever, all the things that can go wrong, Jocko Willink would say, "Good, good, you'll be better off for it." Um, but if you don't put yourself in a situation where you'll have to build resilience, and you never will. You can't read a book and be resilient. You have to experience some things that are uncomfortable to do that.
Before we wrap up the interview, thank you very much for sharing all the stories.
Mm.
Was there a particular movie you worked on that is your favorite, and why? Is there a movie that
Oh man,
stuck with you? In particular, fond of, kept it close to your heart, and you could maybe
I
share a little
mean,
bit of a story
the,
about it.
the first one I ever did was like a unicorn, and it set my expectations way too high for what movies could be. It was with Adam Sandler. It was a movie called The Longest Yard. Adam Sandler, Burt Reynolds, Goldberg, Michael Irvin, Nelly the rapper. I mean, just a cast of unbelievable amount of people in this movie. Anything Adam Sandler does, he's just a very good human being. There's no yelling. The director's super nice. Everyone's camaraderie. Everyone's even. We all have dinner together. We're all playing football together. It was unbelievable, and made a lot of money and had a lot of fun and made an awesome, cool product. I got to know how the movie business works. I got me a bunch of good friends. It was just awesome. And we were in Santa Fe, New Mexico for 2 months filming, living in a hotel room, getting per diem, getting paid to play fake football with Adam Sandler. It was just a dream. And then I did the movies with Michael Bay. Things are blowing up. Run! Don't be late. Everyone's yelling. They're like, this is different. This is not as fun. So that first movie holds a really strong place in my heart because the people were just the director, the producers. I've talked to these people hundreds of times. If I run into them tomorrow, they'd be like, "Oh, Kevin, how are you? Good to see you. Let's grab lunch." Just nice people. Everything you think of Hollywood wasn't on that set. They were just nice, humble, fun people. And then I learned that that's all Hollywood movies. I kind of the bar was set pretty high on that one. It was really special for me.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing this.
Sure.
You've shared a lot of great stories and lessons as well. I'm sure people will be curious after seeing this interview to find out more about you and your life in general. But is there any word of wisdom, final one, from apart what you've shared and said that you will want to leave the audience with, whether the younger people or anyone that watches it? you know, that comes from the bottom of your heart.
You're tougher than you think. I always go back to the core principle of who you are over what you are. Value who you are more than what you are, and you'll be able to be resilient and go through any challenges and be free to take chances and put yourself in these hard situations, knowing that if I failed, I'm still who I am hasn't changed. I'm still a hard worker, good person. I'm humble. I'm a good friend. All that, none of that changed when I didn't get this job, or I didn't get this, or I got kicked off the baseball team, or none of that changed. That was my core, and it keeps you confident through all the things life can throw at you. So that's always been my core philosophy. That's really done me well.
Wonderful, Kevin. Thank you very much for sharing everything in this interview with me. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot, means the world to me. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Reach
much.
out anytime. Hope your viewers enjoy it.